Welcome, everyone. We're going to get started with our third innovation station of the night. And I don't know how many of you know Clay Kelley. I'm guessing everyone knows Clay Kelley, right? How many of you don't know Clay Kelley? Well, you're in for a treat. Clay is going to be talking to you for the next 20 minutes about the 5 biggest mistakes that PEO salespeople make. Thank you, Clay.
How you doing? Good. Who's in sales? Everybody's in sales? Yeah? Okay. Sales management, you're in sales? Okay. Everybody does sales. In the grand scheme of things, everybody does sales. I hope I get this clicker right. Okay, so this was very difficult, I got to tell you, to come up with this. And I kind of, when they asked me about doing this, I was like, they're like, we need a topic. And I'm like, I mean, I'm in the middle of something, and it's like, well, we need a topic, and we need it like right now. And I'm like, all right, so 5 biggest mistakes that salespeople make. I really didn't think that they would hold that to me, but they have. So this is what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about 5 biggest mistakes that salespeople make. We're actually going to talk about a lot more than that. All right, so is the PEO sale easy? No? No? I mean, if you're a good salesman? Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, what we're talking about is, or what we're needing salespeople to have, is an understanding of HR concepts, from recruitment to retirement, risk management, an understanding of risk management and how that affects business productivity and cost, and workers' compensation insurance, benefits administration, the impact of ERISA, HIPAA, PPACA, payroll taxes, Fair Labor Standards Act, Personal Responsibility Work Opportunity Reconciliation Act, be able to bundle all of that up and have a consultative, discovery-based, authentic sales process with the C-level, be able to come back and get the documentation that is necessary to be able to build a business case, and then authenticate that business or communicate that business case to an owner and C-level and management team of a company, and then enroll it. Other than that, it's a pretty easy sale. So what I typically find is that, this is about as complicated as a sale could ever be. But our salespeople oftentimes are not truly understanding of that. And so they go small deals, and they go after deals that you don't have to really meet with a C-level about. So in talking about this, mistake number 1 is they're intimidated by CEOs. Were any of you in the Selling Big class? Okay, so unfortunately I gave you some previews for this particular situation. But that's the sad part about it is that, one of the things that I'm a big proponent of is that everybody's got dysfunction, everybody's got problems, every organization has problems. And CEOs have got more problems than anybody else because they're responsible for all of their employees who bring their problems and their dysfunction to the workplace. Do you agree or disagree with that? Okay, so are you CEOs, raise your hand. Oh, you're totally screwed, okay? You're totally screwed. The bottom line is too many salespeople view themselves as salespeople instead of advisors. And by the way, if you're an advisor, you charge for your time. Whereas salespeople, more often than not, think that they're bothering people. How many of you pay an advisor? Pay some sort of advisor. Are they a waste of your time when you sit down with them? Absolutely not, of course, because you're paying for that time. But salespeople, oftentimes they make the mistake of having this mindset, well, I'm a bother to them, and I don't want to take much of your time, and I'm just a lowly salesperson. And oh, my gosh, thank you so much, Mr. CEO, for granting me just a few minutes. I'm not worthy of your time. Where's my camera? Yeah. Wait on closing the sale, I dance with people. That ended up on YouTube. But the bottom line is that if a salesperson has the view that they're just a salesperson and they're there just to give a pitch and they're there to just go through the same motions that they've done for every other sales call for that week, they're not going to be taken seriously as an advisor to a CEO. So that's the number one mistake that I see of salespeople making. 2, failure to consistently prospect and ask for referrals. Certainly there's your big duh, okay, for the 20 minutes that I'm up here, all right, is failure to prospect and ask for referrals. 3, failure to control the sales process. To qualify the prospect, the opportunity, the decision-making process. Oh, by the way, hold on. I'm sorry. Let me go back. Why is this the mindset that they have? Why? Why do they have the mindset that they're a salesperson as opposed to an advisor?
That's what the company's probably told them.
That's what the company's told them? I'm sorry? They don't have, yeah. I mean, the bottom line is that they don't think about the fact that I need to be advisor. They don't know the product. They don't know the business intelligence that they need to know. Okay? So, number 2, why do they fail to consistently prospect? I'm sorry? They get no's. They're in sales, for crying out loud. That's their job. Yeah. Okay. But why did they consistently fail to prospect? Oh, I have to repeat the question. I'm sorry. Thank you. Why do they fail to prospect? Because they're going to get told no. Well, they're in sales. That's their job. Yeah, their job is to actually put on nice clothes, okay, and actually go and have conversations with people. That's their job. How hard is that? Why else do they fail to prospect?
Maybe they're not being held accountable on what they're doing.
They're not being held accountable for what they're doing. I would say it's the fact that they don't know who they're calling on. They don't know what to say when they're calling on people. They don't know how to overcome the objection, or they're all freaked out because they're going to get objections. Okay? There's not an expectation, by the way, and this is the company fault. And I got to tell you, can I be honest with you? Can I be authentic here? I was actually going to make this the 5 biggest mistakes that PEO owners and CEOs make, but I didn't think I'd get anybody to show. Okay? Because we got to be a little transparent. We got to look at ourselves in the mirror just a little bit. But you're right. The thing that I see as being a huge problem of companies in this industry is setting, communicating expectations and holding people accountable. It's real easy to do. It's real easy to talk about. It's harder to do. The bottom line, it's real simple. This is what we expect of you. And by the way, we're going to check in with you every quarter, all right, and see how you're doing, all right? And if you're doing it, great. If you're exceeding it, even better, because you know what we're going to do? We're going to give you some money, okay? So, and if you don't do it really, really well, okay? I mean, if you do it really, really well, we're going to give you a whole lot of money. And if you don't do it very well, then we got to have a conversation. But we get all wrapped up into this whole thing instead of just making it really easy, okay? This is what was expected. This is what you achieved. We got to have a conversation, okay? Now, I believe that, again, it goes back to in failure to prospect and failure to consistently prospect, it's because they don't know what they're saying. They don't know who they're calling on. They don't know what they're saying. They don't know how to overcome the objection, okay? And they're freaked out about getting the objection, and they're in sales. As for referrals, my gosh, my friends, is there a better industry on the planet? I mean, really, is there a better industry of helping people on the planet than what we do? There is not. When you get when you get a client that is happy with your service, you got to take it to the next level to make them loyal to your company. But your salespeople just need to go out there. And I'll tell you that I had a very spirited debate at the last conference with a owner of a PEO or said, we want the salesperson to get completely out of it once the deal is sold. And I said, that's the stupidest thing you could ever do. This salesperson has spent months, certainly weeks, building this relationship, making the sale, and now you want them to just exit out of there and turn it over to somebody else? With all due respect, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. So we had a fun debate. Number 3, failure to control the sales process, qualify the prospect, the opportunity, the decision-making process, and the timeline. Why does this happen? Why do they fail to control the sales process? They're scared of losing the prospect because they don't prospect enough to be able to see enough people to be able to say, I'm sorry, this isn't a fit for us, so we got to go. All right? So they don't control the sales process, and what ends up happening when they fail to control the sales process is they meet with people that are not decision makers. When they meet with people that are not decision makers, it prolongs the process, and they don't get a yes or no. They get a, you know what, call me Monday in 4 weeks, thinking that everybody's going to drop off the face of the earth. The other thing is by the way, and that's about qualifying the prospect too. Too often times we don't qualify the prospect, and if we don't qualify the opportunity and the prospect, qualify them in, qualify them out. I'm sorry. Okay. The Bible says, let your yes be yes, let your no be no. All right? Give me a yes, give me a no. Don't give me, call me Monday. We're either in this thing or we're not. Okay? And if I had a a prospect, 250 employees, and I was referred in. I fly down to Houston to meet with this guy, and we had a great conversation on the phone. And when I get in front of him, the guy all of a sudden sits down and goes, "What you got?" And I'm like, "Well, it's not really what I got. I'm in the business of helping companies solve problems in HR, workers' comp, benefits, and payroll. So the goal is we want to save you time, money, energy, all of those things. Don't write that down. Just send me an email and I'll send it to you." Okay? He said, "You sound like a politician." I said, "I came here for an authentic business conversation. I don't know what happened from the time that we got off the phone till the time that my butt hit this chair, but I came here for an authentic business conversation. I'm prepared for that conversation. Are you?" Now you say, "Well, I couldn't do that. The look on your face is a little scrimmers." Yes? Okay? An advisor can talk that way. He's wasting my time that I paid for an airplane ticket to fly down to Houston, a rental car, and all of that. And now this guy is jacking me around? So, I could have done that over the phone and just said, "Tell me, go pound sand." But now he's wasting my time because I bill for my time because I'm an advisor. By the way, we didn't end up getting the deal, but we got a pretty cool story out of it. All right, so controlling the decision-making process. Just ask the questions. Oh, I'm not supposed to give you the solutions. I'm just supposed to give you the mistakes. And the decision-making timeline. By the way, how many of you sit down with your salespeople on a regular basis, okay, and say, where are we in this deal? You do that, Scott? How often do you do that? Once a week. How many times does a salesperson say, "I'm waiting on information," or "I'm waiting on them to call me back"? Or I'm sorry?
Happens all the time.
All right, don't leave.
Every week.
Every week? You get the same result? All the time? All right, hold on. I'm going to tell you how to fix it. Okay, so mistake number 4, rushing the sales process. All right? Rushing the sales process, asking weak-ass questions. Sorry, can I say ass? Yeah. Video guys back there are going, "I don't care." Okay. I'm sorry, didn't mean to say that. They ask weak questions, okay? They ask weak questions instead of thought-provoking questions that make the prospect think, "Wow, maybe we should do something about fixing that," instead of, "How much are you going to save me?" The salesperson's got to ask a better question to get underneath I can't give you the solution. And attempting to close too soon. Asking stupid questions and trying to close too soon before they've built a business case. Number 5, failing to get the prospect's HR cost. This is the simplest thing in the world. If they'll just do it. If they'll believe that, actually, that this does cost this does cost people money to do HR in-house. All right, so you want the solutions? You want the solutions? Nobody wants the solutions. I'm out of here, Rod. Thanks. Okay, 5 solutions. I've only got 6 minutes and 7 seconds. Being intimidated. Empower your sales team with business intelligence. Okay? Empower your salespeople with knowledge in HR, risk management, benefits, payroll, and technology. Competence creates confidence. Here's the problem. Everybody thinks that knowledge is power. Knowledge is not power. Anybody know a know-it-all that always interrupts everybody's sentences, finishes everybody's sentence, okay? Finishes your question, basically says, "Oh yeah, I know the answer to that question" in the question that they asked. okay? Knowledge is not power. Knowledge deployed at the right time with rapport is power. That's power, okay? Nobody likes to know it all. So mistake number 2, failure to consistently prospect. Invest in lead generation. If you have a salesperson that is not performing and has continually not performed, even if it's your son, your nephew, your cousin, fire them. Fire them. And invest in some sort of lead generation activity to help your salespeople that are really working to be able to get in front of more prospects. Institutionalize your prospecting. I'm sorry, friends, we're in the business of prospecting. You're a marketing machine. Every Wednesday from 9 until 4, you're going to be prospecting. You're going to be going out knocking doors. You're going to be hitting the phones. You're going to be calling on people. That's your job. Institutionalize your prospecting. In other words, this is when we prospect. It's during this time and this time. You better be here, okay? Perform quarterly client care. Get them out seeing their clients on a quarterly basis, all right? I've got a client care form that takes them through and gives them the opportunity to ask questions. If you want it, drop me an email and just say client care. I'll email it back to you. Do you know every one of your clients' CPAs? Do you know who they are? Do you know every one of your clients' CPAs? Do you know every one of their bankers? Do you know every one of their wealth advisors? If you had those 3 things for every client, you will unlock the keys to the universe. You'll have more prospects because then you sit down and you have a conversation with those advisors, advisor to advisor. It's real simple. Just use client care. Number 3. Failure to control the sales process. Don't wimp out. Ask effective questions. All right? You can't allow your salespeople to wimp out. They've got to ask effective questions, and they've got to ask questions like, what's your decision-making process? What's your time frame for making a decision? Who else is going to be involved? When do you want a solution in place? Those kind of questions lead you to the right opportunity. Qualify the process. And by the way, qualify you in, qualify you out. It doesn't matter. Let your yes be yes, let your no be no. It doesn't matter. You're not going to make or break my year if you don't do business with me. But see, the problem is salespeople are desperate to sell instead of being hungry to serve. And so they're clawing at every little bit and every little thing instead of going, how can I help you? Because you know what? You're a CEO, and you got more going on than anybody else. You're more screwed up than everybody else in this company combined because you're having to deal with it. Okay, rushing the sales process, asking weak questions, attempting to close too long. Support a business-like advisor long-term sales process. By the way, and you say, well, now wait a minute, I got to have salespeople that are making revenue immediately. Okay, well then you need to find another business because this ain't it. Okay, I'm sorry but maybe if you're just now getting that, and that's okay. I told you something that you needed to know. That's not saying that you allow salespeople to go a long time without sales activity. All right, you're still monitoring that, but they've got to take a long-term approach. Let me tell you something. Deals can be closed in 2 weeks. They can be closed in 2 months or 2 years. It comes down to the timing, the business case, and what's going on. So teach them to be thorough in asking questions that get underneath the prospect's issues. The biggest question that is seldom asked is why. Why do you do it that way? I'm just curious. That's an interesting approach. Why do you do HR that way? Why do you do risk management that way? Why do you do payroll that way? I don't have time for that. Sorry. I got 1 minute. They got to take a doctor approach, okay? They got to take a doctor approach. It's that simple. Doctors ask very tough questions, not always in a soft way. I'll tell you that. Failing to get the prospect's current costs. Ask questions that build the business case, that ascertain the prospect's HR costs. If the salesperson doesn't ask what the prospect's current HR costs in a methodical manner, you're always selling at an uphill on your fee. because we're not getting the deltas in pseudo, we're not getting the deltas in workers' comp, we're sure not getting the deltas on health insurance anymore. So unless they find out and discover what the prospect's issues are and their costs are, they're always going to be selling it an uphill. Okay? Then you want to have a financial summary that shows the prospect's cost compared to your fee. I got 11 seconds. Any questions? Hey, I'm in booth 613. Come by. Got comfortable chairs. You know. If there's anything I can do for you, then drop me an email. If you want anything, the presentation, probing questions, client care, 16 ways to overcome objections, just drop me an email. I'll send it all to you. I'm in the business of serving. Okay? Thank you very much for coming.